I 25M have feelings for my half-sister 24. They aren't going away. I'm disgusted with myself. I'm a pretty normal man with a normal life. I'm 8-month engaged and have a baby that'll be here in 6 months. Me and my fiancé's 27F wedding will be in 8 months. I love my fiancé more than anything and I'm so glad that I get to help bring a life into this beautiful world with her. I'm just so blessed to have her as my partner and can't wait for the years we have together. I don't remember this, but when I was around less than a year old, my dad came clean about an affair because his mistress was pregnant with his baby. My parents decided to stay together for me and my older brother, and forfeited his parental rights to my sister. I didn't know about her. I was 20, and I hadn't met her until last March. She never had any other siblings, so she wanted to meet our dad and me and my brother. We all met and me and her really connected. It was crazy. It was like meeting with someone I gelled with on every level. At first our relationship was like kindred spirits. We had just met but already had known each other. We met up once a month until January when she moved back to our hometown. My fiancé was okay with our and loves my sister too. We've been hanging out and talking a lot this year. Last month I had a graphic and extremely real feeling sex dream about my sister. I woke up so aroused and bothered that I masturbated to the thought of her. I'm sickened in my behavior. I was sleeping in bed next to the woman I promised to marry and who is carrying my baby, and I thought about sleeping with a woman that wasn't her. I've taken steps to distance myself from my sister, but I've called her like 3 times since that happened and have seen her twice. The sex dreams have happened 3 times since then, but I haven't masturbated after. I'll just try to cuddle my fiancé and that usually gets it out of my head. The absolute worst part is, that one time me and my fiancé were making love and I was in the moment and everything. But right before I climaxed, I got a half-second flash of what I thought my sister's body looked like. There's just so much wrong with me and I don't know why I'm like this when I already have the perfect woman by my side. Please I need literally any advice. Genetic sexual attraction is described as a phenomenon of intense attraction between biological family members that can occur after close relatives are reunited after a long period of separation. Generally, in adoption situations, this affects families separated from birth or very early in the life of the adopted child. It's a real thing. I think you're being way too hard on yourself, dude. These are just dreams. It's just your subconscious mucking around. It doesn't mean anything. I had a wet dream I was fucking a dairy cow once. It was incredibly hot at the time and I woke up and was like WTF. It doesn't mean I have some sort of secret sexual thing for cows. I mean, unless they appear in Shake Shack form. Brains are weird and you're having what's known as intrusive thoughts. The best way to not give intrusive thoughts power is to observe them, label them, that's an intrusive thought, and dismiss them. That's just my brain firing in a weird way and I don't have to worry about it. If you need more help dealing with this, I'd seek out a CBT therapist who can help you with this. Do not feel disgusted with yourself. Believe it or not, no matter how taboo it may seem, many people have fantasies of close family members such as siblings, cousins, etc., especially when you have never seen them in a while. On a moral standpoint, opinions will differ if engaging in these type of relationships are okay. Without the label, she is just another human you so happen to find a connection with. That being said, you must realize the boundaries of others and take into consideration of the partner you already have. It is not the fantasies that are icky themselves, rather what someone does with them. If you can't control these feelings, I would suggest reaching out to a therapist. I swear I watched a documentary about this. Genetic sexual attraction is a thing. Look it up. It's how you act on those feelings and how much you allow yourself to fantasize what really matters. It ain't incest if you yell no chromo. Because you never grew up together as kids, the natural, "ew my sister," attitude we develop as humans to actually stop incest never came to fruition. As a result, you are left with the natural reaction to be attracted to people who share your genetics. It's a real thing. Especially meeting at 20, you never at all got to actually see her as your sister. Just don't act upon it. She is your sister and it is weird to build a close loving relationship as an adult. Don't put too much pressure on dreams. You seem like a nice guy. All the best for you and your fiancé. Having a sex dream about someone or fantasizing about them doesn't mean you actually want to have sex with them. I mean, clearly, you do not, or you wouldn't be posting about this. Maybe you should try asking your sister to share more childhood photos or memories. It's hard because you didn't meet her until she was an adult, but maybe getting a clearer picture of her as a child will help cement in your subconscious mind that she is your sister. It seems like you love your fiancé, so hopefully these dreams will fade away as your relationship with your sister becomes a less new part of your life. You are dealing with a lot of new things: fatherhood, being a husband, having a sister. Try to focus on what's important and what you love and everything will fall into place. God, I hope this is a troll. Shit like this makes me never wanna date again lol. This is what Pornhub in 2020 does to people. Makes you fall for your stepmom and stepsister. Half bro, what are you doing? Sweet Home Alabama. But honestly you need to see a therapist. I feel bad for the woman you knocked up because she's unknowingly competing with your sister. Yikes. Remember that you are not your thoughts, you are what you do and whether or not you act on those thoughts. A Reddit thread where people are perfectly okay with incest. Why I never would have imagined. Title says you have feelings for sister but story says you have dreams. Do you have feeling while you are awake and looking at her? Or is it only while you sleep? If so it doesn't count. I've taken steps to distance myself from my sister, but I've called her like 3 times since that happened and have seen her twice. How do you define steps here? The attraction is a normal phenomenon but you're also capable of critical thought. Don't act on the attraction. Deny it every time. Do not masturbate to thoughts of your sister. Use negative reinforcement, mild shock or pain, to stop you from doing so. Try to associate her with definitively non-sexy things so you can retrain your brain to stop it. Takes a lot of time though. Genetic sexual attraction is a thing. Look it up. You're probably going to have to avoid her or you'll torpedo your life. You're overwhelmed with getting married, having a baby and your life changing. It's just your head making you feel these feelings. This will pass. Maybe talking to a therapist could help? Dreams are weird. It's not uncommon for the subconscious to substitute closeness with sex, like, wanting to become closer to your father could result in having a weird sex dream with your dad in it. That's naturally pretty confusing once you wake up and the dream lingers. But it doesn't represent something you're going to do. It was crazy, it was like meeting with someone I gelled with on every level. At first our relationship was like kindred spirits. We had just met but already had known each other. Yeah, you have a lot in common with your half-sister. You probably feel this way because you share a father. That said, I kinda agree with the dairy cow comment. I once had a really sexual dream about an Elvis impersonator. He literally said, thank you very much, after we finished having sex on a random linoleum floor. They're just dreams. If they keep happening, maybe you should see a therapist. But do not tell your fiancé about this. Okay, so there's definitely something deeper going on here. Are you feeling distant from your fiancé? Has sexual activity stopped due to the pregnancy? You can't control your dreams so no one can fault you for that, but I don't know why you actively masturbated to someone other than your fiancé. My advice is to try to forget about this. Do not tell her, it will destroy her. Just move on. When your sister pops into your brain, shove her out. Focus on your fiancé and how much you love her. A few times sitting with and talking to a therapist would help you sort out your feelings. It happens, just don't act on it. Talk to a therapist to work through it and eventually everything will be okay. Try not to sweat it. If it's just thoughts, feelings, and you don't act on it, then not a biggie. Often folks are attracted, even highly attracted, to others where, for reasons it's just not appropriate or suitable or whatever. Oh well, and there it is, and may remain, and you just don't act on it. Period. That's it. This is something you need to learn to control your feelings, as there is no other way to deal with this, and better if you keep distance from her, like stop meeting her alone and stop hanging out. As long as you do not act on your feelings towards her, there is nothing to worry, and here you know you need to focus on your relationship with your fiancé, otherwise there is much to be ruined. Why you are getting sexual thoughts about her is something you should not analyze, as that is not required, but let those thoughts come and go, so with time those thoughts will go away if you are determined to stay away from her. You can also see a counselor to fix this too. The feelings are actually still pretty new and will likely fade with time. Just don't say anything about it, and not just to spare your fiancé either. Your poor sis would probably be mortified and very uncomfortable to know about this situation. Therapy may be needed not only for how disturbing this is, but the whole situation about finding out your dad had an affair that led to your sister, half-sister, really doesn't make things less fucked. Not saying you're fucked up, except you masturbated to her and imagined her while having sex instead of stopping and trying to snap out of it. It just sounds like you need some help from a professional to work through things. You have to try to stop the fantasy of your sister so your brain doesn't continue to make these associations with her and sexual pleasure. The more you follow the fantasy, your brain makes neural pathways and links between two concepts, people, ideas, etc. The more you associate two things together, the quicker your brain starts to make connections between the two. Sex dreams rarely mean anything, as well as the feeling of arousal after. I've had plenty of sex dreams about people I went to university with, occasionally even people I did not get on with at all. Very frustrating being horny for the guy who only talks to you so he can copy your work. If there's nothing else going on and you don't want to pursue a relationship, I wouldn't read too much into it. You two have a family bond and feel very close to each other. It's not unusual that your brain kind of connects the dots in the wrong way. Maybe talk to a therapist a few times to walk through it. It's a real thing, and don't fear, because I know a friend who got over this. It was short-lived. As many people have said, it's okay to feel weird things, and dreams are just dreams. However, I would recommend getting a therapist, not a Freudian one, please, to deal with these feelings and the self-disgust they induce in you. Hope the best for you, Op. Nature has a way for siblings not to be attracted to each other, and it's done by growing up together. Source: Science. Unfortunately, you skipped that part and now you have feelings. Just don't act on them, and don't feel guilty about dreams ever. And don't break contact with your new sister, it's not worth it. You'll fall out of love, if you are actually in love, eventually, and you'll have a great friend sister. Good luck, Op. You're the best stepbrother she could have ever asked for. You know the meme with Ron Burgundy where he's like, I don't believe you. That what I wanna post. It's okay to have them. Just don't act on them. You're not crazy, bro. They're other people with better advice, so I'm just saying you're not disgusting. It's hard to even come here and say this, so you're taking the right steps. If you are from Alabama, this is normal. If you aren't from Alabama, you are fucked up. The question is, if you didn't have a fiancé, would you actually have sex with your sister? I'm a woman and have many wet dreams and fantasies with women, but I would never really fuck one. You need to understand how serious of a fantasy this is. That said, there is a genetic attraction among relatives that have been separated. You should read about it because it's very interesting and explains a lot of what you are going through. Okay, so sex dreams do not necessarily mean you are sexually attracted to someone. All it means is that you feel a close to someone. You don't have to have it play out in reality. I, 24 female, had a sex dream about my 70 female therapist. Didn't mean I really wanted to bang my old lady therapist, but just felt I could be vulnerable with her. That you have unwanted intrusive thoughts makes you human. As unwanted intrusive thoughts go, lust is probably at the top of the list. The proper way to judge yourself is according to what you do about these thoughts. Nothing in your post suggests that you have ever entertained the idea of seducing your sister. So give yourself a well-deserved vote of confidence. You're handling this properly. Sometimes people have strange thoughts. But that's the beauty of it, they're just thoughts. It's when the thoughts become actions that it becomes an issue. A lot of things are taboo in our society, but the simple fact of the matter is it isn't wrong if it doesn't harm anyone. To be quite honest, I don't see the problem if you masturbate to your sister once in a while. No one actually gets hurt. But I can understand that might just be a bit too weird for you. So try not to feel bad, because you aren't doing anything wrong. This isn't even that uncommon. Just don't act on it and, if it would help, cut yourself off from, distance yourself further from your sister. Why not both? Sometimes those forbidden things in life makes us excited. We know it's wrong, but just because it's a must not makes you want to live it. Me and my girlfriend do some role plays of such forbidden situations. If a role play feels good, imagine reality. It's normal to have feeling, even sexual, for a sibling, like a guy also comment. Many people do, it's a real thing. Even as a sister, she is a person too. Yes, it's bad. Yes, it must not happen, but feeling are feelings and we cannot control them. Take your time. Even stop seeing your sister for a while, focus on your family and wife and things will move. Maybe it's just some excitement. Spend time with your wife and have some great time. Having a dream or thought isn't cheating. Cheating is making a conscious effort to pursue or continue after realizing that you have an emotional, romantic or physical relationship with someone else. You can't help who you are attracted to, what you dream about, or even in most cases what thoughts pop into your head. They may go away in time, or they may not. You will likely find a new fantasy attraction soon enough. You may also just be having a lot less sex at the moment if your fiancé is pregnant. Find an alternative outlet, it will probably reduce the sex dreams too. Your poor fucking fiancé. You should let her know about your fantasies so she can keep your child as far away from you as possible before you get attracted to her too, freak. Yikes. Your significant other deserves better WTF. Okay, so you gotta do what I call, eternal sunshine of the spoochless mind. It's a foolproof technique that will desexualize someone who's off limits. So basically, the premise is simple. You whack off to her over and over and over until you absolutely fucking hate her guts and the last thing you think of when you think of her is sex and the first thing is raw, strained, and bruised genitalia. Try and whack it to her at least 5 times a day for a week. Just her, and nobody else. By the end of the week she will no longer be a sexual entity to you anymore and you can proceed with a normal sibling relationship. Happy spanking.